Exeter Chiefs use the Anglo-Welsh Cup well. Getty Images. At the Wellington Festival a couple of weeks ago, Dean Ryan considered the path ahead for the under-16s in attendance. Specifically, the former Gloucester head coach and Worcester director of rugby pondered the biggest challenge he faces in his role as the RFU's head of international player development. Ryan did not need much of a pause to deliver an eloquent answer. "One of the biggest challenges we've got is competition structure in that second tier," he admitted. "We want to get a really solid competition program that we can see people develop through and we can see how it moves to the Premiership, which is the shop window. The danger is that we don't have a huge amount of reference points. The players go up, get judged, come back down." Dean Ryan at the Wellington Festival. Julian Simmons. "You want players who influence and have strong opinions. Sometimes I question how they can do that if they're not one of the players who physically can jump across quicker than others." Ryan explained his sense of urgency by outlining that politics are irrelevant when dealing with teenagers that have immediate needs. "We've got to work hard to solve it," he added, "because they're only 19 once and then suddenly it's gone. The next generation ticks over." As Ryan acknowledged, the second tier of English rugby is currently in the midst of an identity crisis. "It can be whatever, we've never got it right. Nobody knows how to define the second tier. Is it the A-League, which suffers weekly match postponements as sides scramble to establish player availability and infrastructure is stretched? Last October, Wasps had to abandon a game against Northampton at Broad Street because there was no ambulance in attendance. A month later the same club fielded their press officer on the bench in Newcastle. Is it the Anglo-Welsh Cup? Some clubs might say that they see the tournament as a calendar-clogging inconvenience, although others strike a balance in fielding fresh faces with experienced heads. Reigning champions Exeter Chiefs are among them, and significantly signed 14 youngsters, including England under-18 internationals, to senior academy contracts recently. They are an anomaly in more ways than one, which brings us to the Championship. Coventry have surged to the National One title. John Cole's Photography. Ealing are the latest outfit to summon ambition and aim to crack the established order. Hope is that the Trailfinders do not rush into doing a London Welsh, overreaching and unbalancing. Their average home attendance is around 800, which is approximately 1,000 fewer than that of Coventry, who will face them next season after being promoted from National One. When I visited Butts Arena and spoke to Coventry's director of rugby Roland Winter earlier this year, he was wary of being dragged into all that is murky about the Championship. The stated aim is sustainability. They are aiming to break the third-tier attendance record of 3,648 in their final home match of the season against Hull Ionians on April 28, which would represent a good launchpad. Winter conceded that the Premiership may be ring-fenced by the time he has assembled a squad ready for the elite. So be it. Would it be a disaster to cut off the top tier temporarily, so the Championship clubs can stabilise? Cornwall's stadium proposals are a step towards this, boding well for Cornish Pirates. Nigel Melville, the RFU's professional rugby director, has reportedly been keen for a buddy club system to provide regular Championship game time for prospects at Premiership clubs that are in that awkward halfway house on the cusp. Their first team 23, the region that worries Ryan. New Zealand's ITM Cup seems a prolific nursery for Super Rugby franchises and, indeed, the All Blacks. That said, it is not particularly useful to compare the English club scene with one within a centralised model. According to figures from Midi Olympique, France's second-tier, Pro D2, has seen each of the 16 teams average over 2,000 people at home matches. 3 have averaged over 8,000, led by Perpignan averaging 8,909, and 9 over 5,000. In the Championship, Bedford Blues, average home attendance 2,516, sit in second behind Bristol, who are top with 8,487. Those figures will remain out of sight for the foreseeable future. Still, cutting out one of the A-League or Anglo-Welsh Cup and attributing greater resources to the Championship would help clarify a purpose for the second tier. That has to be the first battle. What do you think? Does English club rugby need to be restructured? Have your say in the comments section below.